Hey, Christine from 90 here, and we're going to be talking through all of the different places where measurables show up in your account. I think we're all familiar and usually build these out on the scorecard with those 5 to 15 numbers that we want to track for the specific team. But as you grow and expand, you may have multiple teams or people owning numbers that don't even show up on scorecards. And so we're going to talk through all of those different use cases and then see how they ultimately show up on My 90, on your VTO, connected to your accountability chart, and then in meetings as well. So first, when we're building out our scorecard and setting up these numbers, when we do assign an owner, we can see that person there, but we can also assign it to a seat. This helps us understand if somebody is sitting in multiple seats, where does that measurables accountability ultimately lie? If that person was going to get promoted, if they leave the company, who's going to take on that measurable with the new person coming in? So you can just go ahead and click seat. If that person is in multiple seats, you'll be able to select it from there. And then using the drop down up here at the top, this actually gives you the accountability chart view first, where you can see seats. And then as you hover over the seat, it'll give you all of the people that are in that seat. So kind of a reverse lookup in that way. And if I select it here, it'll update it here as well, and then I can save it. Now, when I do that, two things happen. The owner, whoever owns this measurable, is now going to see it on their My 90 page. And then for the seat, we're not going to see it on the accountability chart view in particular. But the data is still really helpful if you're thinking about things like the AI in your account, MAS, being able to see and understand your roles and responsibilities more robustly. So if we go over to the My 90 view, any measurable that I specifically own, it doesn't matter what team it's on, is going to show up under My Measurables. This is where I typically come at the beginning of the week to fill in my numbers, or if they're getting auto-filled through API or anything like that, I just want to come and check on them before the weekly meeting. This is where I would come. Now, the other place where you're going to also see your measurables is going to be on the VTO. When you're building out your VTO, you're thinking bigger picture. So it's not going to be all 15 of the numbers that are on your scorecard on the VTO. You're really narrowing down to what are the key measurables that I need to see that are going to show me if we have won the quarter or won the year. And so the place where you do see this show up is on the 3-year picture. We have a measurable section. And then on the traction page, same thing, 1-year plan and then 90-day. So each of these sections you can see is actually set up the same way, where we have revenue, profit, and measurables all listed here, and they're edited the same way as well, where we click the edit button, it opens it up where the revenue and profit areas, these are just line items. They're not directly connected to measurables on your scorecard. But when we go to this section, we have the choice of can add an existing or we can create a new measurable. Creating a new is exactly what you would expect. It's adding something net new to the account. If we want to add an existing, this is pulling up all the measurables that already exist in our account. I think this is the one we actually just saw earlier. So if we wanted to pull this one in, we can add it to the list. And then it has a blank number here. It's not pulling scores from the scorecard. This is saying, I want to track this measurable, the 1-year goal mark, because I think this is part of that, those 3 to 5 most important things that we need to review at the end of the quarter or the end of the year to make sure that we are on track and moving in the right direction and going to find success. So here I would put in what is the 1-year goal for this number. So by the end of the year, what do I want to hit? I can still track it weekly and measure progress and turn it into issues as we need to talk about it. But this is going to be the 1-year goal. And so this number, whatever I enter, will not translate back to the scorecard. It's just a different view for that same number. So when we go through, we save it, and you can actually see with any numbers that you add here, I added the measurable. The measurables here, but I haven't filled in the score for the 90-day mark yet. So I need to go through and fill out the score for 90 days and then back over to the 3-year as well. So that covers how measurables are also connected to the VTO. And then they're also going to be visible throughout meetings. I think we all know how these show up in your level 10 meeting as you're running it. They will also show up through your quarterly and your annual sessions in the appropriate areas. And I'll just go ahead and start a quarterly. As an example, when we go to review prior quarter, If I click this drop down, here again are those measurables that are pulled directly from our VTO. So we can see those here. Typically, we're going to review and see if we completed all of our rocks, and then we're going to review our numbers and see if we're on or off track with the numbers that we hit, so we can have a conversation around, or what issues do we have? What do we want to improve for next quarter? And then you'll also see those on the VTO listed here in your quarterly planning as well. Another thing that is an option for you to do is sometimes during the quarterly planning, you do have this view tools button. So if you do want to go view the scorecard, and if you track anything on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis that you want to see quarter over quarter, you could quickly toggle here and just understand quarter over quarter. And we have a quarterly planning video, so you can go watch that for more in depth about how you might facilitate and go through this. But this is an option if you did want to view the scorecard tool in your measurables during any of your meetings. So that's how you would view it, use it during meetings, either using view tool or just in the agenda. The other and final thing I want to show you is in your one-on-ones. And so with one-on-ones, this is where you can come to quarterly reviews. And if you go through this process of having managers and direct reports have this quarterly review in 90, what it does is it'll pull in all of the measurables that that person owns and give you the performance of those over each time. So if I open up this one as an example, it'll pull in the rocks, to-dos, and measurables under performance data that the person owns. So I can see under measurables here, here's all of the measurables that Abby owns, and I can see if those were red or green over time. I can also change the interval, and when I hover, I can see the actual scores for those numbers. So that is your final way that you're able to see and view and use measurables throughout your account. If you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to our team. We're happy to help.